This is how the top 1% think. They know that man's supply is not in persons or circumstances, but in God, the unfailing source. They do not look to the outer world for security, but to the inner conviction that what is theirs by divine right will reach them, under grace and in perfect ways. I have seen the poorest lifted to abundance when they changed their words. For the spoken word sets the law in motion. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and the top 1% speak only life, prosperity, success, right action. They think from the end, not toward it, knowing that what they imagine with faith must take form. There is no loss in divine mind. What is yours cannot be kept from you. Thought precedes form. Everything you see in your life today began first as a thought, either yours or another's in agreement with you. Before a building stands, it is drawn on the architect's paper. Before a garden blooms, the seed is planted. Before success manifests, it is conceived in the mind. The outer is but the shadow of the inner. I have said many times, there is no loss in divine mind. And this is so, for divine mind holds the perfect pattern of your life: health, wealth, joy, and perfect self-expression. Nothing can be taken from you except through your own consent to fear, doubt, or limitation. When a person comes to me in lack, I do not speak of their bank account. I speak of their thought account, for that is where the true deficit lies. As the thought is changed, the form must change, for the law of cause and effect is unchanging. Speak the word in faith, and the form will follow, under grace and in perfect ways. I recall a man who came in great distress, convinced that he had lost the opportunity of a lifetime. He said, "It is gone, there is no hope." I answered, "You have lost nothing that belongs to you by divine right. What is yours will return multiplied, or something better will come to take its place." He looked at me with doubt, yet I instructed him to declare daily, "What is mine by divine right is now released to me under grace and in perfect ways." In a short time, a new offer appeared, far exceeding the first in every way. He learned that the outer form may shift, but the divine idea behind it is eternal. The world calls it coincidence. I call it the law in action. You cannot think defeat and expect victory. You cannot dwell upon lack and walk into abundance. The seed you plant in the subconscious must match the harvest you expect. Those who master life guard the garden of their minds as carefully as a jeweler guards a diamond. They allow no weeds of fear, resentment, or self-pity to take root, for they know these will bear after their kind. Instead, they plant thoughts of faith, gratitude, and expectation of good, and they water them with praise. If you speak of limitation, you water the weeds. If you speak of supply, you water the harvest. Speak the word for prosperity, health, right companionship, and perfect self-expression, and do not dig up your seeds with words of doubt. There is no power in the outer world except what you give it through your thoughts and words. Many fear certain people, conditions, or events, believing these have the power to harm them. I say to you, the only power they have is the power you lend them through your belief. God is your supply, your protection, your source of every good and perfect gift. Hold to the thought of divine abundance, and you will find that channels open where you saw no way. The outer will mirror your inner certainty. When you know beyond all wavering that the perfect pattern is held for you in divine mind, and that your thoughts and words are the key to bring it forth, you will not fear appearances. The appearances are but passing shadows. The reality is eternal. Do not be deceived by delay. A farmer does not plant a seed in the morning and expect a full-grown tree by nightfall. He knows there is a season for germination, and he does not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. Likewise, when you have planted the thought and spoken the word, trust the divine timing. Say, "I give thanks that what is mine by divine right is manifesting now, under grace and in perfect ways." Then release it from your anxious grasp, for worry is a form of digging up the seed. Trust the law, for the law is certain. When you align your thoughts with divine mind, you step into the current of success. You need not strive or strain. You are carried by the river of right ideas toward perfect fulfillment. Those who live in this flow know thought precedes form, and so they choose their thoughts with care and speak their words with power. As you learn to master the unseen, the seen will surely follow, just as the shadow follows the substance. Now that you know the seed of thought is the cause, let us turn to the creative force that directs and shapes it, the spoken word. Every word spoken is a seed in the garden of the mind. The tongue is the rudder that steers the ship of life, and with it you call forth health or sickness, abundance or lack, joy or sorrow. Scripture declares, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue," and I have seen it proved without fail. The words you speak are not idle. They are living things, clothed with the power of your faith or your fear, sent out to build the conditions of your life. You cannot plant thorns and expect roses. Likewise, you cannot speak of poverty and expect plenty, nor speak of failure and expect victory. If you wish to see a harvest of good, you must sow only words that align with divine truth. Speak the word for that which is already yours by divine right, and it will come to you, under grace and in perfect ways. I knew a woman who continually declared she was always short of money and could never get ahead. Her life faithfully mirrored her words. When I showed her the law and told her to speak of plenty, she laughed, for her outer world gave no sign of it. But I insisted she begin declaring, "I have a lavish, steady, dependable income, consistent with integrity and mutual benefit, under grace and in perfect ways." She spoke it daily, not with strain but with quiet certainty, until it became her truth. In time, new channels of supply opened, some she could not have imagined, and she found herself free of the constant struggle. There is no loss in divine mind, and the words she spoke opened the door for her to receive what had always been hers in the invisible. But the subconscious mind is like rich soil. It will grow whatever is planted in it. The spoken word is the seed. If you speak of delay, loss, fear, or limitation, the soil will not argue. It will grow according to the nature of the seed. Many wonder why their prayers seem unanswered, yet they undo their own work by speaking words that contradict their faith. You cannot affirm God is my unfailing supply and then say, "I cannot afford this," without uprooting your own harvest. I say to you, let your words be in harmony with your highest vision at all times. Speak as though the good you desire is already here, for in divine mind it is. The law works impartially, whether for good or for ill. Those who understand its operation choose their words with care, knowing that even idle phrases take root. Guard your speech as you would guard a treasure, for it is indeed the treasure house of your life. When you speak health, your body responds. When you speak abundance, channels of prosperity open. When you speak peace, your affairs are ordered accordingly. Every word is a command to the unseen, and the unseen obeys without question. Speak the word with faith, and the outer world will rearrange itself to match your decree. It is not enough to think rightly, you must also speak rightly, for the word spoken with feeling impresses the subconscious far more deeply than silent thought. This is why affirmations are so powerful when uttered aloud. When you declare, "What is mine by divine right is now released to me under grace and in perfect ways," you are setting the law in motion. The vibration of your word, filled with conviction, reaches the unseen and draws your good into form. The top performers of life understand this. They do not waste their speech on complaints, idle gossip, or predictions of failure. Their words are tools, not toys. If you find yourself tempted to speak in fear or doubt, stop and reverse the decree. Replace the wrong word with the right one immediately, for the soil of the mind is quick to take root. Declare instead, "I walk in the paths of righteousness, and every step brings me closer to my good." Speak of your affairs as being in divine order, your health radiant, your supply overflowing, your opportunities perfect. In doing so, you align yourself with the truth that already exists in divine mind. Every word spoken builds the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Speak the word for the conditions you desire, and do not contradict yourself by declaring the opposite when appearances tempt you. Appearances are but shadows. The truth is eternal. Hold to the vision with your words as well as your thoughts, and you will see the outer reflect the inner law. Now that the seed of thought has been sown and the spoken word has sent it forth, we turn to the next principle, for it is by intuition that we are guided to the right action and the perfect channel through which our good shall come. Tuition is the voice of God, and it must be obeyed without fear. It is the still, small voice that speaks within, guiding you to the right action at the right time and toward the right channel through which your good shall come. It does not argue, it does not explain, it simply declares. Many have silenced this voice by reasoning themselves into doubt or by listening to the clamoring of fear. But those who walk in the fullness of life have learned to trust it, for it is the direct message of divine mind to the individual soul. When you obey intuition, you place yourself in the current of divine right action, and things fall into place under grace and in perfect ways. The appearance of difficulty may surround you, but the inner voice will show you the exact step that leads to freedom. I knew a woman who prayed earnestly for her perfect work, yet every outer sign pointed to closed doors. One day, while walking through the city, she felt a sudden urge to turn down a street she rarely visited. At the end of that street, she encountered a friend she had not seen for years, who happened to know of a position ideally suited for her talents. Within a week, she was in her new role, which opened many doors for her future. She had obeyed the nudge without questioning it, and her obedience unlocked her good. This is the operation of divine mind. Seemingly chance meetings, unplanned events, and sudden impulses are often the visible expression of the invisible guidance that has been leading you all along. There is no loss in divine mind, and when you obey intuition, you recover not only what you thought was lost, but often something greater. The voice within knows the whole plan. It sees what the reasoning mind cannot. The intellect may calculate risks, weigh probabilities, and count costs, but intuition speaks from the certainty of divine law, where all is already accomplished. Reason may say, "This is impossible," yet intuition will say, "Go forward." And when you go forward, the way opens as if it had been waiting for you all along. The great mistake is in delaying obedience, for hesitation can close the very door that intuition intended to open. When you receive the inner word, act at once, knowing it comes from the source that never fails. Intuition is never anxious, never confused. It is calm, clear, and sure. Fear is the counterfeit voice, loud and insistent, urging haste without peace. Learn to distinguish the two by their nature. Intuition brings quiet confidence. Fear brings turmoil. When I am unsure of a leading, I declare, "Infinite Spirit, reveal to me the right step. Let me be divinely guided now, under grace and in perfect ways." Then I wait in stillness, refusing to move until the way feels light. The moment of clarity always comes, and with it, the assurance that the step is safe and certain. The top achievers of life trust their inner direction more than outer appearances. They know that intuition is the channel through which divine mind executes its perfect plan. They may seem bold in the eyes of the world, but in truth, they are simply obedient to the promptings of spirit. When others hesitate, they move. When others doubt, they affirm. When others cling to the familiar, they follow the call to something greater. And as they obey, the invisible law goes to work, arranging people, events, and resources to fulfill their highest good. To walk by intuition is to walk by faith, and faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you act on intuition, you declare by your deed that you trust the unseen more than the seen. You affirm that God's plan is better than your own, and that your steps are ordered in divine right order. Say often, "I am divinely guided. Every step I take leads me to my highest good. The way is prepared before me under grace and in perfect ways." Then go forward with the calm assurance that you cannot miss your path, for the law is with you. When you cultivate this inner listening, life becomes a series of perfect unfoldments. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, and doing the right work. Doors will open before you, and closed doors will no longer trouble you, for you will know that what is yours cannot be withheld. Obedience to intuition keeps you in the stream of your own divine pattern, where all that concerns you is already complete. And having trusted the voice of God within, you will be ready to understand that nothing is ever truly lost, for the divine plan is always advancing toward your good. Nothing is ever lost. What belongs to you will find you. This is an unchanging truth, for there is no loss in divine mind. In the realm of spirit, all that is yours by divine right is safe, untouched by time, circumstance, or the interference of others. What appears to be taken from you in the outer is often only being rearranged in the unseen to return to you multiplied or in a more perfect form. Many mourn the seeming loss of opportunities, relationships, or possessions, not knowing that the law cannot withhold from you what is yours. That which is truly yours cannot be kept away, and that which is not yours will fall away, making room for something greater. When you know this, you release grasping, fear, and regret, and you walk forward in the assurance that all is in divine order, under grace, and in perfect ways. I remember a woman who came to me in deep sorrow, believing she had lost her home forever due to circumstances beyond her control. She had invested not only money, but years of labor and love into it, and its loss felt like a wound. I told her, "You cannot lose what is yours by divine right. If it is truly yours, it will return to you or be replaced by something better." She began declaring daily, "I give thanks that what is mine by divine right is now released to me, under grace and in perfect ways." Months later, a remarkable turn of events occurred. The very home she thought gone was restored to her, free of the burdens that had made it so difficult to keep. The seeming loss had been the path to a greater freedom, and the return had been perfected by the law. We must understand that holding on in fear to what appears to be slipping away only delays the manifestation of the better that is trying to reach us. Release is a demonstration of faith. It says to the universe, "I trust the divine plan more than I trust appearances." In the moment of letting go, you open the channel for your good to flow back to you, purified of all that made it less than perfect. To cling to the form is to lose sight of the idea, and the idea is eternal. The form may change, but the divine pattern remains intact in the mind of God. Those who understand this law never fear loss. They know that the outer is transient, but the inner pattern is eternal. They can see money, property, or relationships pass from view and yet remain in peace, for they know that what is theirs will return, often in greater measure. The world may call it luck or coincidence, but it is the unfailing operation of divine law. Appearances of loss are often only the pruning of the vine, preparing it to bear more abundant fruit. If you lose a position, it may be because a greater one awaits. If a door closes, it is because the right door is about to open. Always declare, "I cannot lose what is mine by divine right. It is now released to me under grace and in perfect ways." One man I knew lost a long-cherished business partnership. At first, he felt betrayed and defeated, but he continued to speak the word, affirming, "My good now flows to me in new and perfect channels, under grace and in perfect ways." In a short time, he was led to a new venture, far more profitable and harmonious than the old. He often told me later that what had seemed a loss was in truth the greatest gain of his life. This is the working of the law. It removes what no longer serves and replaces it with what fully expresses the divine pattern for your life. To live in the truth that nothing is ever lost is to live in constant assurance and rest. You no longer chase after what appears to be slipping away. You simply bless it and release it, knowing that if it is yours, it will return, and if it is not, something better will take its place. You do not need to struggle, strive, or manipulate circumstances. Your only work is to keep your thought in alignment with divine mind and your words in harmony with truth. Speak the word for restoration, increase, and right replacement, and then allow the law to fulfill its promise. When you know that what belongs to you will find you, you live free of fear, resentment, and regret. You stop looking backward and begin looking forward to the good that is always on its way. You understand that your treasure is safe in the hands of God and that it cannot be stolen, lost, or destroyed. This is the confidence of one who walks in divine law, and from this confidence flows gratitude, which multiplies the good already on its way. In this way, the seeming losses of life are transformed into stepping stones to greater blessings, and the path unfolds with perfect precision. And so, with this assurance in your heart, you are ready to embrace the law of increase, for gratitude is the magnet that draws your abundance swiftly into view. Gratitude multiplies good. It is the golden key that unlocks the storehouse of heaven and draws to you blessings beyond measure. When you give thanks for what you have, no matter how small it may seem, you acknowledge the source of your supply, and that acknowledgement opens the way for more. Gratitude is not merely a polite sentiment. It is a spiritual law. Whatever you praise, you increase. Whatever you fail to appreciate may diminish in your life. I have seen those who constantly complain watch their blessings shrink before their eyes, while those who live in praise and thanksgiving find their good flowing in greater measure each day. The act of giving thanks affirms that you already live in abundance, and the law responds by multiplying that abundance under grace and in perfect ways. I recall a man who came to me with constant financial trouble. His words were always of lack, how little he had, how bills mounted, how there was never enough. I told him, "Your words are planting a harvest you do not want. Begin now to give thanks for what you have and speak only of plenty." He resisted at first, for to his reasoning mind it seemed foolish to give thanks when there was so little to see, but he began reluctantly to declare each day, "I give thanks for my abundant supply, now and forever, under grace and in perfect ways." Within weeks, small channels of income began to open. Instead of dismissing them, he blessed and praised them, and each grew larger until his entire situation transformed. He learned that there is no loss in divine mind, and that thanksgiving is the magnet that draws one's invisible good into visible form. Gratitude is a declaration of faith. When you give thanks before you see the manifestation, you are saying to the universe, "I believe my good is already here." Faith without gratitude is incomplete, for gratitude is the song of fulfillment, the vibration that aligns you with the completed work in divine mind. The more you praise and bless your present good, the more you prepare yourself to receive the greater that is on its way. Even when outer appearances seem bleak, give thanks, for your praise is watering the seeds you have planted with your thoughts and words. Speak the word of gratitude, and the invisible supply will hasten to meet you. One woman I knew desired perfect health, but she was continually speaking of her ailments. I told her to begin giving thanks for her body now, as though it were already whole. She began declaring, "I give thanks for my radiant health, which is mine now and forever, under grace and in perfect ways." As she persisted in praise rather than complaint, her strength returned, her color brightened, and vitality flowed into her life. She had shifted her focus from what was wrong to what was already perfect in divine mind, and the outer followed the inner decree. Those who rise to great heights in life understand that gratitude is not occasional but continual. They thank God for the smallest details, the tiniest evidences of good, and in doing so they open the door to greater blessings. They praise each opportunity, each contact, each step forward, no matter how slight it may seem, and as they bless what they have, they find that it grows. The law cannot do otherwise, for the vibration of gratitude draws to it its own kind. To live in gratitude is to live in joy. It lifts the heart, clears the mind, and keeps the channel open for divine supply to pour in. You cannot be in fear and gratitude at the same time. Fear closes the door. Gratitude throws it wide open. If you desire to see a quickened flow of good in your life, begin and end each day with praise. Declare, I give thanks that my blessings are immeasurable, my supply is abundant, and my life is in divine order, under grace and in perfect ways. Let this be your constant refrain, and watch how swiftly your affairs align with the truth you speak. When you give thanks, you affirm that you are not separate from your good. You acknowledge that you live in a universe of abundance, where the source is unfailing and the supply is infinite. Gratitude anchors you in the knowing that what you desire is already yours, simply awaiting the perfect channel and the perfect time for its manifestation. And as your heart overflows with thanks, you will find that more and more flows into your hands, for you have proved yourself a faithful steward of what is already given. With praise on your lips and thanksgiving in your heart, you walk in harmony with divine law, and the multiplication of your good becomes inevitable. And so, having sown the seed of right thought, spoken the word of power, obeyed the voice of intuition, trusted the law of no loss, and lived in constant gratitude, you are prepared to step fully into the life that is already yours in the mind of God. And so you have seen that life is not ruled by chance, but by divine law, immutable, unfailing, and always working for your highest good. Thought shapes form, the spoken word sends forth the decree, intuition guides your steps, the law of no loss assures your security, and gratitude multiplies your blessings. When you walk in these truths, fear loses its hold, limitation dissolves, and the path before you shines with the light of divine right action. You need not strive or struggle, for you are moving in the current of infinite supply and perfect order, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak the word, trust the unseen, and hold fast to your faith, for the law cannot fail you. Your life is already complete in the mind of God. Health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression are yours now. Go forward in courage, with your eyes on the good that is before you, and your heart filled with praise for the blessings that are already here and the greater blessings yet to come. Good luck, and thank you.